Hi, I'm Mike, and this is my new book, Mizen, Rescued Folklore, Histories and Songs from Ireland's Southwest. It's available now, straight away through Amazon at £21.99. It's in some of the local shops down in West Cork, and it encompasses stories from Crookhaven School, Lissy Griffin School, Goleen, Alter and Tormore, Lower Town, Scull and Baldyhob. The stories were originally written down between 1937 and 39 by the local school children who had been commissioned by the government, the new government of the day, to try to rescue the folklore which they were concerned was going to die out. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Please buy it. Well, where did I get the idea for the book? Well, it started off as a novel. And I went to a bookshop nearby in a town near Goleen and was told that the local folklore had gone, had been obliterated by famine and emigration, and that just didn't ring true to me. I remember my grandmother telling me stories when we used to visit. My grandmother was from Goleen, my grandfather from Durras. I never knew my grandfather, he died before I was born, but my grandmother was very much part of my life. And I thought, no, these stories got to be here. And so I went looking and found the school's collection at University College Dublin, and all these wonderful rich stories from the school kids written down in the 1930s. But some of the stories dating back at least 100, if not longer, years from then. The novel very much took a back seat. This primary collection of sources was just too interesting, and I couldn't believe that nobody had written it down before. And so it just seemed like the most obvious thing to do. The whole process has been remarkably enjoyable. Do I have a favourite story? I think there are stories in there that make you laugh, and there are those that will make you cry. At the moment, I'm enjoying the humorous ones. There's a great one. Shall I read it to you? There was a fellow east in Rahura. His name was Goslin, and he used to always be going away north, storytelling to Drishane and places. Several nights he used to meet a horse, and this night he felt a kind of tired, and he said he'd ride the horse away north. He went up on the back, and when he did, the horse galloped away and took him through every road and field in the country. Goslin was afraid for his life. He took out his knife and said that he'd drive it through him if it didn't take him home. The horse turned and galloped home towards Gosling's house, and near Ahura there was a big soft patch of mud, and he threw him headlong into it and went away cracking his sides laughing. Another one of my favourites is the amalgamation of the Workhouse, a poem that was written down by a man called Joe Helen. He was the porter of the Workhouse, and he lived in Gortnamona. It's a beautiful example of how poetry and politics and local news and local history can be put together. Um, I'll read it. "'Twas early on a summer's dawn, perched on a tree in the workhouse lawn. The birds all met by the morning air, and they asked the cuckoo, would she take the chair? With a queenly air on a branch she sat, and spoke her thanks to this feathered lot. As your head and chairman I'm placed to act, and your great convention is not rigged or packed. Here a jackdaw rose with a fluent bill. He made a speech of great power and skill. He asked his colleagues, the gull and crow, "Can you tell me, friends, will the workhouse go?" Said the stately raven, "My feathered chums, we have dined for years on the choicest crumbs, and I need not tell you what you all know, that you'll miss the crumbs should the workhouse go." The tale of woe did the sparrow tell, "I'll finish soon, don't I know it well? When winter comes and snow showers fall, I won't pick up crumbs in the dining hall." Said a shrewd old thrush with a thoughtful brow, "None hate the workhouse, all love it now. It has of late quite a host of friends, who for past abuse ought to make amends." Here a seagull rose with plumes so white, "'Tis against officials to nourish spite. They begrudge them food or an honest fee, and would drown each one with a spoon of tea." "One moment, please," said a sleepy owl. "In Balladie-Hob you can hear folks growl against the scheme which they deem unwise, for the workhouse contract to make great noise." "Round the town of Skull," said a blood-stained hawk, "there has been for years quite a lot of talk, of unseen confabs and prolonged debate, of an empty workhouse to lower the rates." Said a tiny wren, "Ah, then, don't you know, it serves folks' ends that they should all go. You bet the inmates could go to Mars if that Yankee Ford came here making cars." Said the corncrake, "Now permit a word. Have you seen the eagle, Pat Sheehy's bird? As on its columns I saw last night, I read a letter that may ease your plight." Here a blackbird rose, saying, "Your brains are dense. You silly fool, may God give you sense. You know right well no name was signed, that the author had his own axe to grind. And people say it's a sin and crime to send the poor from their local clime, to meet strange faces in distant wards, and to lay their bones in a strange churchyard." It's, although its characters are birds, they are telling about the importance of the workhouse to the local community. So we're looking at famine or post-famine, I would imagine. There's some lovely, lovely stuff. Said the corncrake, "Now permit a word. Have you heard the eagle, Pat Sheehy's bird? As on its columns I saw last night, I read a letter that might ease your plight." I'm guessing that there was a newspaper at the time. Perhaps the editor was called Pat Sheehy, and clearly in his columns he was publishing stuff against the workhouse. And there's a reference to that Yankee Ford. He was a cork man, and so there's this sort of slightly tongue-in-cheek go, "Well, he's left, he's fine, he's got away." But I just think for a relatively short poem, it just captures so much.